Hi, my name is Sophia Arnold, and this is my final project presentation. I chose the piece Cleaning the Drapes by Martha Rossler. This piece was created between 1967 and 1972. It is made of photos from inkjet print. I chose this piece because I found the arrangement of the prints to be very interesting and how they were kind of collaged with each other. I really appreciate how they're layered, and it gives a lot of dimension to the work, which really stood out to me when I was trying to find a piece to focus on for this project. In addition, I wanted to learn more about some of the most influential events and factors in United States history, so I believe that I picked a very adequate piece that portrays both the Vietnam War and gender roles, two very important parts of United States history. This piece is currently located in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. A woman stands in the foreground of this piece cleaning curtains that open up to a war scene. The war scene depicted in this work is the Vietnam War, which plays an important role in the overall message of this piece the artist was trying to communicate to the viewer. The overall purpose of this work, which I will go more in depth about, is to showcase gender roles in the 20th century. The contrast here is particularly important because this piece is mostly black and white, besides the curtains. The contrast of dark black and light gray creates emphasis on the war scene and on the figure, which creates movement throughout the work and adds to the melancholy feel given off from this piece. The focal point of this piece begins with the woman because of her light and dark contrast, and then shifts to the background, where the curtains appear to be opening up. The grainy appearance on the war scene creates texture, which further communicates feelings of sadness and loss. The scene looks almost faded, which makes the viewer understand that the war and that gender roles were very relevant in an earlier time period. The dark to light values in this piece make the work feel more lifelike and realistic, which allows the viewer to feel as if they are in the scene with the individuals in this work. The cream-colored drapes creates emphasis on what is going on behind the drapes, which further communicates the sad feelings. In addition, the pattern on the curtain adds texture to the piece and draws emphasis to the woman cleaning and doing her gender role activities. The vertical lines, subtly placed on the curtains, draw attention to the woman and the war scene, which directs the viewer's eyes up and down the piece. The curtains also give the piece movement and further add to the realistic character the piece has. The curved lines on the rock create movement and unity throughout the piece. The woman's stance gives off confidence in her abilities to do her household duties, but also shows her support for the men on the home front. The vacuum the woman is holding is pointing towards the background, which shifts the attention of the piece from her to the war scene. The expressions on the men's faces in the background allows the viewer to feel pride these individuals had. They are fighting for the United States, but also sadness that lots of lives are being lost. Overall, the elements come together to convey the universal feeling of sadness and despair. Some historical context: this piece was made in New York City in the time frame that the Vietnam War occurred. The Vietnam War took place between 1955 and 1975, which involved the United States, North Vietnam, and South Vietnam. It was significant because it lasted a long period of time and resulted in many deaths that made the community very upset. It stripped many families in the United States from a dad and/or husband. According to History.com, this war resulted in approximately 3 million deaths of the United States military. In addition, according to the British Broadcasting Network, it severely injured the economy from the large amount of money put into this war, approximately $828 billion total, over the course of the entire time the war occurred. According to the art history, this war was described as the living room war because it impacted so many families in the United States and resulted in women taking complete control of their households. This war actually inspired many artists, such as Rossler, to create art that showcased in some form the Vietnam War and the emotions and aftermath that came from it, and also to show that women had to take over the more masculine role and be the controller of the household when men went to war. The purpose of this piece is to showcase gender roles in the 20th century, particularly in this time period. The 20th century gender roles were at an all-time peak during this time period, as I said. While men went to war to protect the United States, women stayed at home and focused primarily on household aspects, such as cleaning, as shown in this art, and cooking and taking care of their families. Cleaning was a very big one that was very prominent in when the Vietnam War happened in the aftermath. There were lots of paintings that depict in art that depicted women cleaning because that was a direct correlation to gender roles. Gender roles have been a very influential portion of history for many years, and it shows that during this time, women and men had completely separate roles in society. When women were not able to do certain things like participate in war, which is denying someone of their basic human rights, which is not fair at all. It demonstrates a woman pulling back the drapes to look at life she recognized would never be hers. She's looking and she's seeing that what's behind her is never going to be her, but she's still supporting the men on the home front, as you can tell from her confidence. So this work is not only depicting a woman's gender role, but her confidence depicts that women can do anything they set their minds to. And I have my references.